If you're tuning in now, it's possible you're feeling, well, maybe lost or just incredibly tired.
Utterly drained, perhaps.
Yeah, or numb. You might be carrying something the sources we looked at call an invisible weight. That feeling, that internal gravity that just, it takes everything you have simply to stay upright.
It's relentless.
And you've probably spent so much energy just pretending.
Yeah.
Pretending you're okay for everyone else.
Yeah.
Well, inside, you're just completely exhausted.
That exhaustion is so real. And it's vital we start by acknowledging the truth of how that feels.
Right.
So this deep dive, it's really dedicated to understanding and hopefully starting to overcome clinical depression.
And we need to be clear, this isn't just, a bad day.
Yeah.
Or feeling sad for a bit.
Absolutely not. Depression, it's an active state, biological, cognitive, where your mind, your body almost feel like they're actively working against you, against your own will sometimes.
Making joy feel distant, impossible even.
Exactly. Motivation just evaporates. The world can seem like it's lost its color, its texture. It's quite profound.
So our mission today is to take this idea, this structure, from an emotional guide we studied, and really break down the steps. A framework for healing, maybe?
A pathway back.
Finding hope, finding recovery. We want to stress that while this weight, this depression, is incredibly real, so is recovery. So is finding your way back to yourself.
It is possible.
But it's not a quick fix. We're aiming for a gentle guide, patient, a way back to the person you still are, underneath all of that weight.
So let's start with the reality of it. Because even though it's common, depression is still, well, it's really misunderstood, isn't it?
Hugely.
Yeah.
People often think, or maybe say, it's just laziness, or you lack willpower.
Right. Or just think positive, that old chestnut.
If only it were that simple.
Yeah.
But the reality, what the sources describe, it's far more insidious and physically draining.
It really is. It's waking up day after day and having absolutely zero energy. Like you've already run a marathon before your feet even touch the floor.
That complete lack of fuel, mental, physical, it really defines that early experience for so many.
And then that lack of energy is compounded by this feeling of utter isolation.
Even when you're not alone.
Especially then sometimes. You could be in a room full of friends, family, maybe even laughing along. But inside,
you feel completely cut off.
Yeah.
Like you're watching life through glass.
Precisely. That disconnection, it almost feels physical, tangible.
Which brings us to that term, anhedonia.
Yeah.
That inability to feel pleasure.
Yes, from the Greek. And it's not just that things aren't fun anymore. The sources suggest it's deeper, like a disconnection in the brain's actual reward pathways.
So the music you loved, hobbies, food.
The signal just isn't getting through in the same way. It's like the emotional landscape hasn't just flattened, it feels deactivated, systematically shut down.
And alongside that, there's the internal voice.
Ah, yes. The haunting voice, as some describe it. Psychologically, we talk about intense, persistent, often ruminative thought patterns.
Like a constant corrosive commentary track on your life.
Exactly. Whispering self-doubt. You're not good enough. This will never end. You'll never get better.
It convinces you that this dark state is you, your true identity.
It's a kind of catastrophic thinking that really keeps people trapped in that cycle.
And the origins, well, sometimes it's clear, right? Trauma, major stress, a big loss.
Those are common triggers, definitely. But sometimes
there's just no obvious reason at all. It just descends.
And that no clear reason scenario, that can be incredibly confusing and guilt-inducing.
Because you start searching, right? Why me? What did I do wrong?
Which just feeds that negative loop again. And this brings us to something really crucial we need to get across.
What's that?
Not knowing why you feel this way, it doesn't make the pain any less real or less valid.
The pain is real, period. It doesn't need a justification.
Exactly. It doesn't need a neat little explanation tied up with a bow.
So healing doesn't start with figuring out the why, necessarily.
It starts the moment you stop trying to justify the pain and just acknowledge it's there. It needs attention, care, not a diagnosis report first.
Understanding the is, not the why. That's powerful.
Okay, so if we acknowledge the pain is real, the first instinct for many is, well, to fight it. Or pretend it's not there.
Right, the denial trap. You try to ignore it, bury it, maybe distract yourself constantly. Or put on that brave face, the fake smile.
We all know that smile.
But the sources really highlight the cost of that. It's not just wasted time, it's the sheer energy it takes, that internal conflict.
Cognitive dissonance. essentially. You're burning precious resources, fighting your own reality, lying to yourself, instead of addressing the issue.
And that just makes the invisible weight heavier.
It does. So step one is acceptance. But we need to be really careful about what that means. It's not surrender.
It's not giving up.
No, it's not endorsing the suffering either. It's simply acknowledging what's happening right now, but without that layer of judgment or self-blame.
Just stating the fact, okay, yes, I'm struggling right now. I'm hurting.
But I'm still here. This is my current reality.
That simple, honest statement.
That honesty, it's like, it creates a little bit of space, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Between you and the depression.
Precisely, a neutral ground. And that's where healing can actually start to find some room to grow, because you're not pouring all your energy into fighting the shad anymore.
You stop fighting the reality of it.
And that's the moment you can start separating your identity from the illness. This is so key. You, the listener, you are the person experiencing depression. You are not the depression itself.
That essential you, the one who wants peace, who deserves joy, that person is still in there.
Absolutely. Just needs that space acceptance creates to breathe and maybe start reaching out.
Okay, so acceptance creates the space. But then you need to break the silence, right? Because depression really seems to thrive in isolation.
It absolutely does. Silence is its breeding ground. It gets stronger when it's kept secret, internalized.
But the barriers to talking are huge. People are scared.
Deeply scared. Often thinking, nobody will understand this. Or maybe worse, I don't want to be a burden.
That feeling that your pain is just too much for anyone else, so you carry it alone.
Which is exactly what the depression wants, ironically. But the reality, when people do finally speak up, it can be surprising.
People often care more than we think.
Much more. The key is getting past needing the perfect words or the perfect moment. It's about actionable communication.
Doesn't need to be a big speech.
Not at all. Simple phrasing is often the briefest. Something like, look, I haven't been feeling okay lately.
And I just need someone to listen.
Yeah.
Not fix it, just listen.
Exactly. Without judgment, that simple admission, it's not weakness, it's profound courage, it's self-preservation.
And every time you say it out loud, the pain loses a bit of its grip.
It loses some of its power, its suffocating control starts to lessen bit by bit.
Which leads to needing help, both professional and maybe from peers.
Yes, both are critical. Seeking professional help, a therapist, a counselor that's not failure. It's accessing a specialized tool.
They know how to navigate these thoughts.
They're trained to help untangle those really dense, dark, looping thoughts that feel impossible to solve alone. They offer an objective perspective on the internal chaos.
And then there's the community aspect. Support groups.
Incredibly powerful, whether they're in person or online. Just hearing someone else share a similar story, it cuts right through that feeling of being uniquely broken.
It provides instant validation. Okay, I'm not alone in this.
Exactly. It reminds you, you're not broken, you're human. And you're dealing with something recognized, something manageable. Loneliness gets replaced by solidarity.
Okay, shifting gears a bit now. From the mind to, well, the physical world. Structure, routines.
And we have to start by validating just how hard this is.
Absolutely. When you're deep in depression, the most basic things, brushing your teeth, getting dressed, maybe taking a shower, they feel monumental.
Like climbing Everest in flip-flops.
Seriously. So acknowledging the difficulty is step one for this part.
Definitely. And because it feels so monumental, the approach has to be about small intentions, sometimes called behavioral activation.
Meaning the goal isn't perfection, not tackling the whole to-do list.
No way. That just sets you up for failure and more self-criticism. The goal is simply to do something. One small, consistent thing.
And the examples the sources give are really gentle, like, today, my goal is just to take a shower.
Or, I'll eat one reasonably healthy meal. Or even just, I will step outside for 5 minutes.
Low stakes. Achievable. The focus is on the consistency, right? That tiny habit loop.
Exactly. What's happening neurochemically is you're slowly, deliberately rebuilding the brain's feedback loop. Momentum theory, some call it.
Depression paralyzes, so small actions reactivate.
Precisely. Every tiny victory, brushing your teeth when it felt impossible, sends a signal, I'm still trying, I can still do things. These are the building blocks of self-efficacy.
So the routine isn't about restriction, it's about providing structure, an anchor.
When everything inside feels chaotic and unpredictable, that little bit of structure is stability. It's something reliable in the storm.
And progress here isn't measured by how much you get done.
Not at all. The real progress is in the choice not to give up on yourself, It's showing up for that 5-minute routine even when every part of you screams no. Recognizing that progress isn't linear, sometimes doing half of what you planned is a huge win.
Okay, step 4. Move your body. This one can feel like the biggest hurdle when energy is just gone.
It can feel like a cruel joke, honestly, but the mind-body connection isn't just, feel-good advice. It's biology.
It's a real mechanism for mental well-being.
It absolutely is. Let's get specific. When you move, especially gentle, sustained activity like walking, it helps regulate the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal system.
That's the stress hormone system, cortisol and all that.
Exactly. Depression often involves chronic dysregulation there. Movement helps gently recalibrate it. It's not just about burning off stress, it's about physiological regulation.
And I read something about BDNF, brain fertilizer.
Yes, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Movement encourages its release, which promotes neurogenesis, the growth of new brain cells. This is crucial in areas often impacted by chronic stress and depression, like the hippocampus.
So we're talking actual physical repair in the brain,
Yeah,
not just feeling a bit better for an hour.
we are. Which is why the focus must be on low-pressure movement. We are absolutely not talking about pushing yourself into high-intensity workouts.
It could backfire, cause more stress.
Easily. Think gentle, a walk around the block, some simple stretches, maybe just putting on one song you like and moving around your kitchen.
The goal is circulation, regulation, small activation, not performance.
Precisely. And movement also acts as an emotional release valve.
Sometimes words aren't enough.
Sometimes the frustration, the anxiety, that heavy feeling, it gets trapped. Moving can help release some of that physically, even if it doesn't solve the root thought pattern immediately. It softens the internal grip.
And getting outside helps too.
Yeah.
Nature.
Immensely. The sources really emphasize the calming, grounding effect of nature. Feeling the air, seeing the sky move, hearing natural sounds.
It pulls you out of your head for a minute.
Exactly. It provides external stimuli that interrupt that internal loop of rumination, a necessary restorative pause.
All right, now we dive back inside, confronting that inner critic we talked about earlier.
And the framing here is everything. Those thoughts, I'm worthless, I'm a failure, that constant negativity, they have to be seen as symptoms of the depression.
They're the illness talking, not the truth about who you are.
That distinction changes the game. Because once you label it a symptom, you can start to challenge it, like using a core technique from CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy.
A challenge technique.
Yes, when that voice starts, I'm worthless, you step back mentally. You become like a detective. You ask, okay, is that really objectively true? Where's the hard evidence for that sweeping statement?
So you actively look for counter evidence.
You gather facts against the prosecution. If the voice says you're a failure, you deliberately recall any small kindness you showed, any tiny effort you made today, like getting out of bed, which again is huge, or just the sheer courage it takes to keep going.
These small facts start to chip away at the big negative generalization.
Exactly. The goal isn't instant sunshine and rainbows optimism. It's just to introduce reasonable doubt into the negative narrative, to poke holes in it.
And then replace the harsh stuff with gentler self-talk.
Gentle, realistic affirmations. Not rah-rah positivity, but measured self-compassion. Things like, okay, I'm doing my best today, and that's actually enough.
Or, it's okay that this is hard, it's okay to go slow.
Or even, these feelings are real and valid, but they don't define me, they don't dictate my future.
And it's also about what we let in, right?
Yeah.
Curating our mental input.
Hugely important. If your mind is running on negative fuel, you have to consciously change the input. Choose uplifting books, calming music, content that actually inspires healing.
And be ruthless with things like social media feeds.
Absolutely critical. Avoid anything that triggers comparison like the plague. Comparison is rocket fuel for that inner critic. It just reinforces feelings of inadequacy.
This all takes time, though. Patience is key.
It has to be underscored again and again. Negative thought patterns are like deeply worn paths in the brain. Neural superhighways. They won't disappear overnight.
Progress is slow, made with every single time you choose a kinder thought instead of the harsh one.
It's a marathon of gentle, persistent redirection, not a sprint to victory.
Okay, step 6, rest without guilt. This one feels culturally difficult. We're so obsessed with productivity.
It's one of the hardest, but perhaps most crucial steps.
Yeah.
and non-negotiable for recovery. We have to reframe the exhaustion.
It's not laziness.
It's not even close. Your body, your mind, your emotions, they are profoundly exhausted from the constant draining effort of simply surviving this internal battle.
That reframing feels liberating.
It should. Resting isn't giving up. It's not being lazy. It is essential maintenance. It's recharging the system for the ongoing work of recovery.
If you try to run on empty,
You crash. You burn out. You fall into deeper despair. The small routines become impossible. Rest is preventative care for your healing process.
but we need to normalize actual rest activities. Naps.
Naps are great. Or just sitting quietly without needing to perform or talk. Watching a comfort movie. But the key is doing it without that nagging voice of guilt.
You should be doing something productive.
Guilt. That's the depression talking again. Trying to trick you into self-punishment. Trying to prevent you from recharging and getting stronger.
So the core idea is sometimes healing looks exactly like resting, not doing.
Absolutely. We have to shift from thinking rest is a reward I earn to rest is a fundamental human need, like air or water.
You deserve peace. You deserve replenishment, even if you didn't earn it by being productive today.
Your inherent worth is not tied to your output, period.
All right, moving into reconnecting. This brings us back to anhedonia, that loss of pleasure. The sources call this maybe the saddest pull of depression.
It really is heartbreaking. Losing interest, losing joy in things you used to love. It leads to this feeling of, well, why bother trying? I won't feel anything anyway.
That reluctance to even try is so powerful.
It is, which is why we introduce the idea of action despite feelings. You have to gently encourage yourself or be encouraged to try the activity, regardless of how you feel beforehand.
Listen to that old music anyway. Pick up the book. Walk the dog.
Yes, even if the initial experience is flat or doesn't feel fun, the principle is often that the feeling follows the action, not the other way around, especially when climbing out of depression.
This connects to the spark theory of joy mentioned. Joy doesn't flood back all at once.
Rarely. It usually returns in these small, sometimes fleeting moments, little sparks of interest or connection or warmth.
But you have to be doing something showing up in your life to even notice those sparks.
Exactly. You have to be present and available to catch them when they happen. You create the conditions for the sparks to occur by engaging, however tentatively.
And we have to hold on to the belief that the potential for joy is still there in those activities.
The magic is still inherent in them. Your core interest, the things that genuinely resonated with you, their power hasn't vanished. The depression is just blocking the signal right now.
So keep reaching, keep showing up, gently.
Until that connection slowly, gradually reestablishes, until those things start to feel like home again, even just a little bit.
Depression often brings this profound sense of meaninglessness.
Yeah.
Like nothing matters, including you. Aimlessness.
A deep void where purpose used to be, or where you feel it should be. We need to challenge the idea that purpose is some grand thing you just find out there.
It's something you create, you build.
Actively. Through small, consistent efforts. It's less about finding the meaning of life in one go, and more about asking a daily, manageable question.
Like what?
Something simple, like, what is one small thing I can do today that adds a little meaning to my life? Or maybe add something positive to someone else's life.
Shifting the focus from the overwhelming void to a concrete action.
Exactly. Redirecting the pain, even momentarily, into a small, positive contribution.
And the examples are, again, really gentle, helping a friend with something small.
Or just tending to a houseplant with care. Writing down one thought or observation. Learning one new fact about something that used to interest you.
These aren't huge achievements. They're small pockets of meaning.
But they serve a critical function. They start to prove to your brain that your existence can still have a positive impact, however small. That you can still contribute.
Purpose gives the pain direction.
It does. It reminds you that you're not irrelevant, that you matter. Even tiny acts of purpose start to reconnect hope back to the experience of living. It tells that cognitive part of you, I can still make a difference, therefore I persist.
Depression pulls you towards isolation, we know that. But healing needs connection. The right kind of connection.
Which brings us to step 9. Consciously managing your environment. Actively seeking out and surrounding yourself with light.
What does that look like practically?
It means making deliberate choices about who you spend time with. Seeking out people who make you feel safe, heard, validated. People who don't judge your struggle.
And just as importantly, taking space from people who drain you.
That's often the harder part, but yes. Being willing to step back from relationships or interactions that consistently leave you feeling worse, more drained, more full of self-doubt, even if they're family or long-term friends.
This is about setting boundaries for self-preservation.
Absolutely. You do not owe anyone your peace, especially when you're fighting for recovery. Protecting your internal state is paramount. If a dynamic is toxic or draining, you have the right to limit your exposure.
Your healing has to come first.
It does. And if you look around and feel like, well, I don't really have those supportive people right now,
Which can happen, especially when you've been isolated.
then you need to actively create that feeling of light and support through other means.
Like what? Passive sources?
Yes. Engaging with positive online communities, carefully chosen ones, that focus on growth and support. Reading books by people who understand. Listening to podcasts or music that feels compassionate and uplifting.
You curate an environment that nourishes you, even if it's not physically full of people right now.
Exactly. You deserve to feel supported and nourished by your surroundings, even if you have to consciously build that environment for yourself piece by piece.
Okay, the final step. Step 10. Believe in healing. This feels like tackling the core lie of depression head-on.
It really is. Directly challenging that pervasive, sticky thought. Nothing will ever get better. This darkness is permanent. This is just how I am now.
That feeling of hopelessness can be so convincing.
It's incredibly powerful, which is why we have to consciously, systematically refute it and look for the evidence that it's wrong.
And the evidence is, well, the fact that you're still here.
Yeah, that's a huge piece of it. We need to remind you, the listener, of your own resilience. You have survived your absolute worst days up until now. You kept breathing, maybe kept putting one foot in front of the other, even when it felt utterly impossible.
That strength, that survival instinct, it's not gone.
Not at all. It's the bedrock. It's the foundation you're building on right now.
And recovery.
Yeah.
It's not always about getting back to who you were before, is it?
Often it's not. It's about becoming someone new. Someone shaped by the struggle, yes, but ultimately wiser, maybe softer, more compassionate towards yourself and others, definitely more aware of your own deep strength.
So the new you is actually an evolution, not just a repair job.
That's a beautiful way to put it, an evolution born from navigating incredible difficulty.
And every day you choose to keep trying, even the smallest step. That is healing.
That is the act of healing. Every single day, you choose one small intention. The shower, the walk, challenging one negative thought, you are actively participating in your recovery. Progress is happening, building momentum, even if the emotional payoff, the feeling of relief, isn't there yet.
So belief is trusting the process, trusting the effort, even when you can't feel the results immediately.
It's choosing to trust that your efforts matter, that change is possible, even when the depression is screaming otherwise. It's holding on to that possibility.
Hashtag final words of hope.
So if you're listening to this and you're struggling right now, please try to let these words sink in. Really internalize them. You are not broken.
You are not weak.
You are simply human, engaged in one of the toughest, most draining battles anyone can face, and you need to be kind to that person going through it.
The pain is real. The darkness might feel overwhelming right now, but this struggle, while incredibly hard, it won't destroy you. It is shaping you.
Shaping you into someone stronger, deeper. Stronger, yes. Deeper, absolutely. Capable of a level of empathy, of understanding life and suffering that people who haven't walked this path, they simply can't access in the same way. There's a wisdom forged in this fire.
So just take a breath right now. A deep one. You're still here. You listen to this. You're thinking about it. You're choosing to keep trying.
And that resilience, that sheer persistence, that is something genuinely, profoundly worth being proud of.
It truly is.
So when we look back at all this, what does it all mean? It boils down to conscious choice meeting gentle persistence. We talked through these 10 steps.
Acceptance first, then talking about it.
Building those small, gentle routines, moving your body even a little.
Nourishing your mind, challenging those negative thoughts, and allowing yourself rest without guilt.
Then reconnecting with things you used to love, rebuilding a sense of purpose step by step.
Surrounding yourself with light, curating your environment, and finally holding on to that belief in healing.
And every single time you make a choice aligned with one of those steps, a kinder thought, one small action against the inertia, you are literally actively building a new pathway in your brain. You're constructing your healed self.
That's a powerful frame. And maybe the final thought to leave you with is this: your tomorrow. It genuinely still holds promise. And the strength, the sheer grit that got you through your darkest days so far. That's not just history, that's the foundation. It's the raw material for the wisdom you're building right now.
So the question becomes,
What small act of self-kindness? Maybe just 5 minutes of stretching, maybe just saying one gentle affirmation to yourself. What small act will you choose today to honor that incredible strength you already possess?
remember, above all else, you matter. Your story matters deeply, and your tomorrow still holds potential. You are absolutely, definitely not alone in this.